Several years ago, I purchased a rare pamphlet on ACO silos. On the back of this booklet was a photo of a large ACO block barn and double ACO silos. At the time, I wasn't sure if I would ever solve the story behind the barn, but I did. The story is closely tied to the Elwell family and starts with Talmage Elwell, who was born in New York in 1828. Talmage moved to St. Anthony, Minnesota in 1852 at the age of 24. At that time, Minnesota was still a territory, as this map from 1852 shows. Let's take a closer look at the area within the red rectangle. St. Paul was the largest city in the area at the time, and St. Anthony was located just to the northwest, also along the Mississippi River. Talmage went into the photography business, becoming one of the first photographers in Minnesota. He took views of St. Anthony Falls, Minnehaha Falls, and Fort Snelling, as well as other prominent landmarks in the area. Talmage married Margaret Miller in 1854, and the couple moved to Granite City, not far from modern-day Little Falls. There, Talmage became a land dealer, trying to sell lots to prospective settlers. The 1860 census showed his net worth as $4,200, the 2025 equivalent of $160,000, so he was fairly well off for 32 years of age. Talmage and Margaret had 4 children, James, George, John, and Susie. Granite City never amounted to much, so the Elwells moved to Cottage Grove, Minnesota, where Talmage became a farmer. Talmage also dabbled in selling seeds and plants, and later became the secretary for the Washington County Agricultural Society. The story then shifts to his firstborn son, James. James was born July 2, 1855. He was obviously a smart student, as he took coursework at Carleton College in Northfield. While looking for a job, he stopped at the Nicollet Hotel in Minneapolis. There he found that traveling men did not sleep very well, because the hotels in Minneapolis only had a few beds with springs. At the time, that type of bed was still very expensive. Around 1874, at the age of 19, James invented a cheaper spring bed and obtained a patent on it. The Elwell family then moved to Minneapolis, where they became spring bed manufacturers. This is a drawing of the Elwell Spring Bed Factory from 1878. The springs were laid out in what we would call the box spring section of a bed today. This is a profile look at the Elwell spring bed. By 1880, James was well established in the spring bed business at Minneapolis, at the young age of 24. His younger brother George was also a part of the company, listed as the secretary in 1882. George was the second son of Talmage and Margaret. The Elwell Manufacturing Company did quite well, with the factory capable of producing 1,000 beds per day. They also branched out into other areas, like cots. All of these ventures made James and the Elwell family a lot of money. James used some of his extra money to get started in the real estate business, buying land around Minneapolis to sell lots on, just like his father had done at Granite City. James took out ads in the local newspapers to advertise his lots that were available in the Elwell Additions. Those Elwell Additions were located east of the Mississippi River, just to the east of the original St. Anthony settlement, and north of the modern-day University of Minnesota. Looking a little closer at this area, there was Elwell's Addition, Elwell's Second Addition, Elwell's Third Addition, and the Elwell and Higgins Addition. James enticed settlers by building good roads with drainage and planting numerous trees. The Elwells also moved their furniture factory near the Elwell Additions, where George had taken over the reins of that branch of the business. This map shows a schematic of what had become the Minneapolis Furniture Company. by the mid to late 1880s. George was born at St. Anthony in 1856. Like James, he also took coursework at Carleton College. But he had also taken a year of college at the University of Minnesota. After graduating, George went west to Appleton, Minnesota, where he was the principal of the public school. However, after several years in western Minnesota, George returned to Minneapolis and expanded the family business into cabinetry. It was not long before there was a new furniture line called the Elwell Kitchen Cabinets. This Sanborn Fire Insurance map shows how large the Minneapolis Furniture Company complex had become by 1912. Meanwhile, James had married Lizzie Alden in 1882 and was doing very well in the real estate business. He continued to buy up huge tracts of land, including 8,500 acres around Ham Lake Township in Anoka County, railroad land from the Great Northern and St. Paul and Duluth, land from the J. Cook Estate, and 6,000 acres in Blaine Township, Anoka County. In total, this came to around 53,000 acres of land. Let's look first at the Ham Lake purchase in Anoka County. This map shows the locations of Minneapolis and St. Paul, and where the Elwell additions were located. The large land purchase was in Ham Lake and Columbus Townships, and was considered one of the best farms in the state. This is where Ham Lake and Columbus Townships were located, which was north of Minneapolis and St. Paul. There was also a Ham Lake in Ham Lake Township, and the farm was called the Oak Leaf Stock Farm. Let's also look at his last big land purchase, the 6,000 acres in Blaine Township, Anoka County. Blaine Township was also north of Minneapolis and St. Paul, but south of Ham Lake Township. This farm was located around Golden Lake in the southeast part of the township, so this farm was called the Golden Lake Stock Farm. In Blaine Township, this farm occupied a good majority of the area. However, at the time, the land was covered by numerous wetlands, which James decided to drain. This 1914 plat map of Blaine Township shows the system of drains that were dug across the area so the wetlands could be farmed or settled. This map shows the locations of James Elwell's Oak Leaf and Golden Lake stock farms. At his own expense, James built an 8-mile-long road connecting his two farms. This road cost about $1,000 per mile and was called the Elwell grade for a number of years. Today, it is known as Lexington Avenue. Ditches were dug on both sides of the road to build it up, as shown in this old photo. On the Oak Leaf stock farm, there were 6 large stock barns with a capacity of 600 cattle and horses, a granary, cribs, and blacksmith shop, a root cellar 20 by 100 feet, and 2 large water tanks, which supplied water to all the buildings and grounds. The Golden Lake stock farm was laid out along the shores of Golden Lake. This farm featured a large horse barn 100 feet long, 3 large cattle barns, a swine barn, poultry house, creamery with all modern fixtures, and 200 to 300 head of cattle and horses. Near the Elwell additions north of the University of Minnesota, James also owned another parcel of land. Within this plot, the Elwells had another farm, which actually wasn't far from the family residence. This drawing shows the parcel of land owned by James Elwell and the location of their dairy farm. Edwin was the 3rd child of James and Lizzie, born in 1886 in Minneapolis. In 1902, at the age of 16, he worked the dairy farm near their family residence, starting with 15 cows. Edwin did so well at the dairy business that he soon increased his herd to 65 cows. This is a photo of the Elwell farm in Minneapolis, showing a small creamery building on the left, and 2 large, distinctive silos on the right. This is another view of the farm and 2 silos, the dairy cows on the farm, and a horse team in a cornfield with the silos in the background. Edwin graduated from the University of Minnesota Law Program in 1910, but remained in the dairy business. He incorporated the Elwell Dairy Farm in 1914. The Elwell Farm Creamery had already expanded from its earlier appearance. The creamery building was located at the corner of Broadway and Taft, and was likely shown by this drawing in the 1914 Atlas of Minneapolis. In the 1914 photo, you can see all the wagons and trucks lined up at the Elwell Creamery. At the time, they had 8 wagons running milk deliveries and 1 brand new delivery truck. The Elwell Dairy Farm received numerous awards, including the most sanitary in Minneapolis. The highest scores in milk and cream at the 1916 Minnesota State Fair, first prize in the 1917 Milk and Cream Contest, and a medal at the 1916 National Dairy Show. This medal is shown in the upper right and reads, "First, Minnesota, Pasteurized Milk." This is a photo of the inside of the Elwell Creamery building, which was called the best milk house in the state, because all modern creamery equipment was used. The Elwell Dairy Farm used patent milkers on the cows, which eliminated the need for hand milking. They also used Wizard pasteurizing machines for their milk. A steam plant furnished the heat for sterilizing. Clarifiers were used to remove any sediment from the milk, and cream separators were used to remove the cream from the milk. Bottling machines filled the glass bottles with milk, and caps were placed on the tops of the bottles. The bottles were placed in crates and were conveyed to the refrigerator. When ready, the milk was delivered to customers by courteous drivers. Edwin's younger brother Alden also became involved in the Elwell Dairy Farm. Edwin was president of the firm, while Alden was vice president and treasurer. Edwin married Veda Loomis in 1915, who was also a graduate of the University of Minnesota. Another younger brother, Lawrence, also began farming and raising Holstein cows. Lawrence farmed a parcel of his father's Blaine Township land near Section 12. In the meantime, Elwell Dairy consolidated with several others to form the Modern Milk Company in 1918. The new corporation operated 70 milk delivery wagons. Dairies and dairy cows were becoming big business. In 1922, Minnesota hosted the National Dairy Show. One of its slogans was "Prosperity follows the dairy cow." With this prosperity, the goal was to have a dairy herd on every farm. One neat drawing from the show outlined this concept. It showed a small dairy farm on the left and a milk truck transporting the cans of milk to the large city on the right. By 1922, Elwell Dairy consolidated with several others to form the Northland Milk and Ice Cream Company. At the time, Edwin was only 36 years old. Northland operated 40 trucks and 200 wagons, so success continued to follow the Elwells. From this success, Edwin and Veda purchased a new house in Minneapolis. Northland was also associated with the Twin City Milk Producers Association, including 7,000 dairy farmers around the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. This association had a fancy logo for its advertisements. Edwin also made rounds for publicity, shown here supporting a political candidate who was running for office. By 1931, Northland Milk gave a steady market to 1,000 dairy farmers around the Twin Cities. This continued growth meant new milk plants and more modern machinery. Around 1923, Edwin purchased the 1,500-acre farm Lawrence had been farming from his father. As previously mentioned, this farm was located around Section 12, Blaine Township. Soon after, he and Lawrence built a large clay tile barn to house the cattle there. That one piece of information solved the puzzle I had started with, finally answering my questions about the mysterious barn on my ACO brochure. That fancy barn was built to last, made of clay brick and block from the AC Oaks Brick and Tile Company. AC Oaks was a brick manufacturer from Springfield, Minnesota. The barn was a hollow clay tile structure with 2 attached silos, which is a very rare combination. However, I don't know its dimensions or what was included inside. This was the 3rd barn and double silo combination I have seen, made of Oaks brick. The first one was the Schumacher Barn of Fairfax, Minnesota. The second was the Orphans Barn at Lake Park, Minnesota. Now I have the Elwell Barn of Blaine, Minnesota. If you look closely, only the Elwell Barn had 4 cupolas. So, I believe the Elwell Barn was the largest of the 3. A tornadic and windstorm raced across the Twin Cities area on June 2, 1925. During this storm, the roof of the Elwell Barn was torn off. This map shows the location of the Elwell Barn at Blaine, Minnesota. Edwin and Lawrence also bought 2 more farms west of Minneapolis in 1941. This is an aerial photo of the Elwell Barn in 1938, 1953, 1957, 1960, 1964, 2003, and 2010. By chance, I stumbled across the Elwell Barn in 2011. At the time, I didn't realize it was the barn on my ACO brochure. Thankfully, I stopped and received permission to take some pictures of it. In 2014, the barn and silos were demolished to make room for a new housing subdivision. If you are curious about the other 2 Oaks brick barn and double silo combinations, they are extremely interesting too. That concludes the video. Make sure to check out my other YouTube videos and my primary website at mnbricks.com.